So anytime you've lost games, you got to do things a lot better in a lot of different areas. And I think part of us just coming into work every day and improving individually, improving as a team, getting to know one another, and then trying to work hard at the things we got to work hard at to improve. That's going to be important as we keep moving forward.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Next question will come from Jenny.
Hey, Tom, one of the gifts, one of the advantages in your position is that, there's hardly a situation that you haven't encountered because you've done this for such a long time. And you reminded me after week 1, like, I've lost games before. So I'm just wondering, are there any in your career that stay with you longer, any losses? And if so, what are those games? Or are you one of those that tends to process these very quickly because you have such a quick turnaround each week?
No, I remember pretty much all the losses. I probably don't remember all the wins, but I definitely remember all the losses. I think they all stick with you because you're competitive and you want to go out there and play your best every week. And you realize it's you're not a movie actor where you get, 6 takes when it doesn't go right. Let me do that one over again. I messed that one up. Let's run that back. So, you're a football player and you're making split-second decisions, and you always wish, man, I made every split-second decision right, but that's just not the reality of the sport. So you got to try to improve it as best you can. And again, we're trying to work as hard as we can every day to make improvements we need to make, understanding that, it's a process and it's going to last. There's probably not going to be a day where I've ever said, hey man, we got this all figured out. This is, this sport, we nailed it. We figured out football completely. It's every week. It's just a reinvention of what you're trying to do, what the other team's trying to do, what you need to do, what you need to be better at. And, I think we all recognize we're not at a place where we can ever, relax. We got to improve the urgency. We got to, make the improvements faster, learn from the mistakes and do a better job.
Next question will come from Rick Stroud.
Kind of a quick 2-parter. One, how'd you get through the hurricane? Did you ride it out on the island? And then secondly, just your impression about the NFC South. I know you haven't played Atlanta yet, but you've gone through it a couple of times here with some teams.
Definitely, there's a lot of offense in the NFC South. So, you got to be on. This is, there's good conditions for scoring. A little different than where I've been, where a lot of times the games dictated a certain style of play based on the weather condition, wind, rain, snow. This is pretty much, conditions are ideal for scoring pretty much every week. We've had a few tough weather games. Actually, we had probably more wind than what we're used to, and then a little bit of precipitation. But, it's tough division. There's a lot of good players, good quarterbacks. You got to be on it every week. And, the hurricane, that was a trip last night for me, the storm. And I had a dock, it broke, floated away. I had these jet skis on. I saw those things sitting out in the middle of the bay. And I was going, wow, that's pretty surreal. And I just was kind of laughing like, well, you get the jet skis back. A lot of people are dealing with a lot worse than that. So, but just waking up and seeing kind of what happened to the yard, it got pretty messed up. And be really nervous if a big one hit. So it happened pretty quick. I thought you had time to prepare for these things, but apparently you don't. They're just kind of on you, and then you just got to deal with it. So we pushed the schedule back today. Fortunately, everyone made it in safe and sound, and good lesson learned from someone who's been in the Northeast for a long time.
Next question will come from Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Tom, glad you stayed safe. Mike Evans is one of the best 50-50 ball receivers in the league due to his height and his range. You saw that in camp, throwing the jump balls to him in practice. Yeah, we haven't seen you give Mike many of those opportunities in games. Is that because you haven't had a receiver like Mike, maybe outside of Randy Moss in New England, so you're not used to it? Or are you still building the trust and rapport with Mike in those type of jump ball situations?
Mike does pretty much everything better than nothing's 50-50 with Mike. Mike's better at just about everything than anybody. So he's a spectacular player. And I think, from my perspective, it's just me giving him opportunities to touch the ball and catch it and figuring out different ways based on different styles of defense that we're getting that enable him to touch it, because he's an incredible player when he gets it. And he's an incredible player before he gets it. So I'm working hard at it. And, again, I wish, I'd be making every throw the exactly the way I want. And the only thing I could say is just we're trying to get it right and trying to figure out how to get everybody involved and put together a lot of different pieces that have never been together, and including myself. It's not like I think the great advantage in football is continuity. I mean, that's it. I've learned a lot over the years. Continuity in the NFL is so important with coach, quarterback, what you're trying to be as a team. And, a lot of situations you're in over years and years, and, we haven't been in the reality. We haven't been in those together. I might have been in a lot of situations, and Byron's been in a lot of situations, and BA's been in a lot of situations. The receivers here have been in a lot of different situations, but we're just trying to make it happen together. And you're going up against other teams that have a lot of continuity, and that's the disadvantage. But we got to try to make up for it as best we can. And, we're going to, the only way I know how to do it is to work at it and to work even harder. Every day that goes by, you just got to work harder and never take the foot off the gas pedal. And then just make the improvements we got to make, and then go out there and compete. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. You got to do better. But there's no part of me that thinks, yeah, let's ease off. This is, let's not, work quite as hard today because we've been overworking. And I just think we get after it more.
Next question will come from Joey Knight.
Tom, when things have been clicking for you, and there have been a few games where they have, what would you say is the identity of this offense? Are you guys a power team that flourishes in play action? Are you something else? When you're good, what's your offensive identity?
I think we're trying to figure that out. It definitely hasn't been a 60 minutes of consistent football yet. Again, I think we're trying to, we're just trying to figure it out, and it's going to change from week to week based on who we play. And that's what teams are all about. Football is a tough sport. There's different matchups every week. There's different elements to every game that are a challenge. It's never really the same. So, again, just trying to work at it.
We have time for a couple more. Next, we'll go to Sarah Walsh.
Hey, Tom, I was just curious, how aware are you? Obviously, you go in with a game plan, and then the defense sort of dictates what you can do throughout the game. Like, how aware are you of where guys are in terms of targets and catches? Or is that something that just doesn't even occur to you until someone shows you a stat sheet after the game? And even more importantly, as a follow-up, are the jet skis still out in the bay? Have they been retrieved? They
got fixed. Yeah, we dragged them back. They were about 300 yards away at someone else's house. And I got a bunch of messages from people that were like, hey, man, are your jet skis? They floated down and found their way into someone else's dock. They got lodged. So I was very lucky. But, yeah, and in terms of being aware of where guys are at, I'm just not. I'm thinking about, okay, it's the coverage they're playing. This is where I should throw the ball. This is – I don't know which, who's in the game, obviously, but you're not focused on where you're just, the ball's going to go where it's going to go based on the coverage. And I'm going to try to make a great throw, and they're going to try to run great routes, and whoever gets it, gets it. And, that's what winning football is all about.
Last question will come from Kevin O'Donnell.
Hey, Tom, you used to have a target on your back as, being with New England as the team to beat. The Bucs certainly were had that target this year. A lot of media attention's been on them, fan attention. When you have a loss like this, what does it do to the mentality of the team? And what do you say to the team to try to keep them up that haven't been through a situation like this?
Well, losing games is part of the NFL. I don't think you ever go unscathed. There's only one team that's gone undefeated in the history of the NFL, and you're going to lose games. And when you win a lot, it's amazing, but you also got to deal with when you don't play the way you're capable of playing, you play good teams, you lose. So we've all lost games. It sucks. It sucks for your family, sucks for you, sucks for your players, sucks for everybody. It's just the whole organization feels crappy when you lose because you put a lot into it. But, you're not going to sit here and feel sorry for yourself. You're not going to make excuses. You're going to get back to work, and you're going to try to make it better. And you're going to identify where the problems are, the things you could do better, the things you need to improve on, and then you go out and you practice them, and then you try to go get it again. And it really sucks when you lose at the end of the year and you don't have any games left. And that's when you really feel bad. So hopefully I always say you win or you learn, and hopefully, from losing, you learn a lot of valuable lessons. And, we got to learn those and move on and improve our level of play so that we can go out there and play at a higher level and play more consistently and score more points and put more pressure on the defense.
All right. That's all we have for today. Appreciate the time,
Okay.
Tom.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.